So it has been 10 months since Rare started their monthly update schedule, and whilst a year might seem like a more appropriate milestone to do a collective review, with upcoming updates features being slightly delayed due to Rare's shift to working from home, I thought now would be the perfect time to look back at every monthly update that's come out so far and discuss their strengths and weaknesses, and obviously since this is a YouTube video, we'll be rating them out of 10. Well, if you're going to be at your worst, it might as well be at the beginning. Catering no new content, Black Powder Stash's focus was on gunpowder barrels, although even that was completely restricted to digging them up. There weren't any gunpowder skeletons that would spawn to create intense scenarios with the risk of losing your loot, there weren't any new ways to interact with gunpowder barrels, and a disappointing general lack of explosions despite the supposed theme. None of the balancing tweaks are notable either, it's just an update that didn't need to do much to be serviceable, but failed at even that. Oh, we've upgraded now, from no new content to one piece of content. In all seriousness, the Reaper's chest has continuously remained a fantastic facilitator of PvP, especially with the later change to final turn-ins to the Reaper's hideout. The issue being is that it's within the context of yet another update with a lot of untapped potential. The dark relics of the update are no more than reskinned items, and I think Rare missed an opportunity here to have the relics randomly apply already existing curses to actually have them affect gameplay. An additional Harpoon rowboat and hit rig improvements prevent the lackluster voyages from being as sour as in Black Powder Stashes.
Here comes the money!
Here we go!
The launch of the Pirate Emporium was undoubtedly a huge success. It brought a very healthy, new form of income for the game and was generally very well received by the community. I really can't complain past an obvious favoritism towards Emporium cosmetics over normal ones. What I can complain about is the black market, another addition brought with this update that I believe has been handled very poorly. When I first heard that reskins of old cosmetics were being brought back, I was extremely happy that a variety of commendations could get new rewards more substantial than doubloons, subsequently making their completion and cosmetic acquisition more satisfying. Unfortunately, this is not what happened, and Duke's store has become a disorganized mess of incomplete sets. There's no reason for his archive not to be transferred to the main shops or locked behind commendations, as he's become such an unwarranted center of voyages, commendations, and progression. This consequently makes the quality divide between the Emporium and base game even more prevalent. I should also add that there were shipwreck base centered voyages, but nobody did them because they involved cargo and not treasure. Post-merchant trauma is real and should be treated as such. Oh, good lord, it's glorious. Fort of the Damned really was the first update that showed us why the monthly schedule was worth sticking around for. That the influx of content was not consistent, as larger features are always in the works behind smaller releases. The Fort of the Damned flagships this update as a highly challenging, highly lucrative event that is the shining jewel of a server for anyone looking to pirate. It caters a nice expansion on the already existing Shadow Skeleton mechanic, and a bar of entry that makes stealing it just as appealing as doing it yourself. Not to be outdone, however, Sloop Arena was another very welcome addition that made the mode more accessible for those with a less substantial crew. Still waiting on the Brigantine option though. The Banjo allowed us to complete a 4-man band and gave a stellar new rendition of every song. Lastly, a large drop of new, more traditional looking cosmetics, something that we need more of. Ultimately, Fort of the Damned was a strong combination of many quality features that gave promise for more to come. Despite the heightened expectations thanks to its predecessor, the Seabound Soul is yet another acclaimed release that brought a host of game-changing features. The new Tortail was a highlight, starting off the previously teased Flameheart storyline that has characterized many of the following updates. Fire was also a massive new addition, which was executed perfectly both visually and gameplay-wise. This update initiated the Ashen Tomb grind that, whilst being a bit overused towards the end, catered the lock and key system, which was a welcome feature transition from Tortails. Yet again, my main complaint is in the reskinned voyages that don't utilize any of the new features or varies existing ones to make them interesting. The concept of rewarding players for giving away their loot felt very half-baked in this update. While seeming far more appropriate as a weekly event, the idea is a fun and seasonally appropriate way to temporarily shift up the dynamic on the seas, but a lack of commitment to making all of the commendations around this gimmick prevents it from being prevalent enough. Few bothered to complete the gifting tasks, with the normal ones being so demanding themselves. Convincing other crews that you're trying to be helpful is always a pain, and constantly checking the Reaper's hideout for others' gifts was a chore. The monthly voyages also included some emergent skeleton lord fights, and being outside of the context of Tour Tales, they really showed their flaws as boss fights. Clearly the update of this patch was the Maiden Voyage, a masterfully crafted and scored tutorial for new players. That's it, by my books, the game doesn't have a good tutorial until it stops describing the galleon as the most memorable experience to all new players without friends. I really don't have much to say about this update, probably because it doesn't contain any actual content. We got a new build rat adventure through Umbra, which rewards you for going around the world, discovering Easter eggs and learning about notable community members, but beyond being a nice way to officialize players into the game, it's just walking around and clicking on button prompts. We at least got some nice tattoos to unlock. Gilded Voyages made a return, which were obviously fun to steal and got loot flowing more than usual. We got a reskinned Reaper's chest. What is this update? Alright, moving on. Cruise of Rage introduces a really awesome new curse chest that boils upon the fire from the seabound soul. They also added my main complaints yet again fall on the awful voyages. They involved reskinned skeleton lord fights that, due to being overused, have gotten very stale, and the voyages didn't utilize the Chest of Rage's mechanics in any way, despite us seeing features that do in the very next update. Molten Sands also became the only active fort, which nobody did due to underwhelming rewards paired with the volcano mechanics not working well in a fort environment. Good, we're back on track because Heart of Fire sports some really decent feature additions. Emphasis on decent though, because most of it ain't amazing. The new Tour Tale is unsurprisingly very well done, being even more cinematic than the Seabound Soul. I can't not complain, however, that these features aren't being utilized outside of one-time story quests. Thieves Haven runs make for a welcome expansion to Athena's Fortune, and whilst they don't introduce any new features, they're enough of an amalgamate of previous mechanics to feel different. The Blunderbomb and Shame Shot also vary up combat without killing solo players. Funny how every update is supposed to do that. Ships of Fortune was a long-awaited update, bringing many features that people have wanted in this game since launch. We have a bounty system based around hunting down ships flying emissary flags. We have new reasons to hoard treasure thanks to a reward multiplier. We have a new faction that rewards PvP, and new reasons to grind due to expanded leveling and cosmetic rewards. The pursuit of the ledger progression has quickly become my favorite grind in the game, as a constantly expanding goal based on others' earnings. It is a worthy successor to the anniversary update, maybe even surpassing it when regarding how many lasting dynamics it introduces. Not to be outdone, however, Arena Mode got a huge overhaul, and I can safely say I am never looking back. It facilitates a much more condensed, intense and chaotic iteration of the mode that used to be a chore to compete in. Even the most controversial edition, Revival, has not given me reasons to dislike it, and the dynamics it introduces amongst the crew adds a welcome new depth to PvP and PvE alike. Akin to the anniversary update and Fort of the Damned, this update was a culmination of several strong features that offer the heightened experiences this game can cater, and represents the peak of the monthly update schedule in my opinion. Also cats. So that was a review, and thank you very much to everyone who stuck around to the end. I really appreciate it. I have a lot more to say about this game than I could fit into a 10-minute review, so I have every intention of creating more videos, so if you liked what you saw here and want to see more, consider subscribing. I would love more incentive to do YouTube. I really enjoy making videos. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.